Broadcasting from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia to around the globe. You're listening to Shark Bite Biz, your exclusive place for business strategy, sales, marketing, and tech in the roaring 20s. And now, here's your host, David Strausser.
I'm your glamorous host, David Strausser, and it's time for another amazing episode of Shark Bite Biz, your place to learn how to grow a business during complete chaos. Today, we got a hot episode for you. It's our Thanksgiving Day special. First, I hope all of my fellow Americans are enjoying their holiday today. As executives, we often get too busy to cherish the moments with those we love and depend on for success. Enjoy your life today. Enjoy your holiday. Stay safe. Have fun, and most importantly, as Ed Howie says, go spread some joy. Today's topic is something uber important. It's your voice. Your voice is one of the most critical assets you have. How you speak, the tone, the level, the pace, the dynamics. It is what can make or break not just a sale or a partnership, but it can do that to your career. Right now, during this global pandemic, most business is being done via phone calls or video calls. How you speak can make or break you. Even if you know the answer, if you sound weak or shaky, you will give the person on the other side of that conversation a little bit of nervousness. They're going to have some doubt. It will create doubt for you. Ultimately, they will be unsure about what they're telling you. Again, even if you're absolutely correct, that's how important it is to speak strong and confident. So today we're going to chat about that. So who is today's guest? Cynthia Jai. Cynthia is a voice coach, professional speaker, CSP, and best-selling author. She's also a TEDx speaker. Cynthia has helped clients from 46 countries across 6 continents with their voice to speak with impact and conviction, engages and inspires people to embrace change and take action. She has been a professional speaker and coach for the past 18 years and has spoken to audiences as large as 20,000 for organizations like Mercer, Google, HSBC, Procter & Gamble, Singaporean Air Force, and many of the world's largest multinational companies. So without further delay, let's bring Cynthia on in here.
Personal growth.
Cynthia, welcome to Shark Bite Biz. So glad to have you here today.
Thank you, David. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, no problem. No problem at all. So we have a tradition on this show. The very first question, it's a softball question, really easy to start the conversation flowing, okay? Tell us your background. Tell us your experience. Tell us what you do for a living. Who is Cynthia?
Sure. I am a voice coach. I help people speak with a more powerful voice so that they can be heard whenever they speak, whoever they speak to, and wherever they speak. And I'm also a speaker. So before the pandemic, I was traveling in different continents for speaking engagements. So now I'm speaking in the comfort of my home.
Yeah, that's always got to be great. From looking at your speaking resume, it looks, I mean, you've been all over, what was it, like 40 countries or 18 countries, something like that?
Yes, 18 countries, 5 continents.
18 countries. Yeah, in 6 continents. That is amazing. I'm assuming the missing continent is Antarctica.
Yes.
We've got to get you down there somehow. So how did you get into professional speaking, TEDx speaker, all that kind of stuff, and with the voice? How did that come about?
So I was in my school days, I think it was 7th grade. Seventh grade, I was appointed by my teacher as the class president. So
Okay, there you go.
as the class president, I had to speak in front of my class every single morning. And so I've trained to be comfortable speaking in front of people. And so as I went into the corporate world, I started to get in touch with a lot of speakers, trainers as well. So when I saw what they were doing, I said, this is something I can do as well.
Yeah.
So that's what inspired me to become a speaker.
Wow, that's great. So have you been a speaker your whole life? Speaking,
Um,
public events, engagements, stuff like that? Yeah.
for the past, I would say for the past about 17 to
Yeah.
18 years, I've been doing training and speaking. And so in between my school days and becoming a
Yeah.
trainer and speaker, I did some work as a human resources
hmm
specialist.
Okay. Okay. But it sounds like you're one of the lucky ones. A lot of people that we get on the show, you'll find out that, when they first started their career, they were this. Halfway through their career, they're like, I don't like that. And they change careers. And now they're super successful in a career that they've never imagined. It sounds like you were the opposite of that you found something when you were very young in school. And that's what you grabbed onto, you loved, and you've predominantly have done that throughout your whole career.
I had some confusion when I graduated as well.
Oh, did you? Tell us about that.
Yes. So I wasn't sure what I could do.
Right.
I was thinking that, I am good with people, so perhaps I can apply for jobs in human resources.
Okay.
So I applied for a few jobs. And in the beginning, the very first job was a training coordinator. So I was
Okay.
coordinating training for our company. And
Yeah.
so I did and that job requires sales. So
Yeah.
because I was just graduating and I had no idea about sales, so I did very bad in that job. And so I did about 1 year and then changed. Finally, I was hired by another company. It was human resources for
Yeah.
all the time. So that's where I got the job. And at the same time, I was also thinking, as I did in the job, I realized, yes, I am good with people, but this is also not something that I wanted. But I
Right.
didn't know what I wanted at the time.
Right.
And I was going into different events, different networking events, different groups. And
Yeah.
then I realized I saw a lot of speakers, I saw a lot of trainers. I said,
Yeah.
looks like this is something I would love to do. So
Okay.
that's how it started. Yeah.
That's a great story though, and I think it still emphasizes, like you said, that you were trying to figure out what you could do, and sometimes it just takes people a little bit of time to figure out what can they do compared to what do they want to do. And you
Yes.
obviously found out then what you want to do, and you've grabbed it and you ran with it, because I mean you've spoken 18 different countries. How many languages do you speak?
Right now, I'm speaking two and a half.
Two and a half. There you go. Two and a half. So when you go to some place like Finland or the Netherlands to speak, are you doing your speeches there in English then, I assume?
Yes, yes. So
Yeah.
it's worldwide, it's all English,
hmm
except in China, it's Mandarin.
Right, right, right. What's the half language you speak?
It's French. I am still
French?
learning it.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm fluent in Spanish, so I'll trade you, your Mandarin courses for Spanish courses one day. So,
Yes.
one of the reasons I wanted to bring you out here, one of the foremost questions that I have is right now, I don't know if you know this, but there's this global pandemic going on.
Yes.
And, and we've been stuck with it for this whole year. It feels like decades. But during the pandemic, professionals, business professionals like me, okay, we're doing everything remotely, whether it is internal stuff or external stuff with prospects and clients. And I think it is ever more important, not just what you say, but how you say it. So, how is a good voice ever so critical right now to build relationships?
Sure. I just heard about the pandemic yesterday.
I don't know. I don't know you very well, but I think you're joking.
I am.
I'm kidding.
So, yes, for the during the pandemic, there were actually more people seeking out voice coaching. I think one of the reasons was because in the pandemic, a lot of people were in panic. A lot of people were worried, concerned, fearful.
Right.
And so many of my clients, they are leaders, and they need to sound more calm. They need to give people assurance, certainty, and hope.
Yeah.
And then they realize that that is something that they are lacking. So I think it is very important, especially in times of uncertainty.
Right, because, leadership comes from the top down, as they often say, and I've coached people in my past. And, maybe like with what I do now, it's ERP with Vision 33. And we may have someone who's like one of our system implementers. We call them consultants. And the consultants might not always be customer facing. And now they're customer facing ever more, and they're through meetings. And, they can be in a phone call and all of a sudden the client blows up. And then the consultant's hitting me up like, hey, David, what did I say wrong? And I'm like, hey, what you said was perfect, but it's not what you said. It's actually, how you said it. You sounded wishy-washy. You didn't sound confident. You gave the customer the impression that you were unsure or guessing. And that's essentially what what brought that escalation. Even though you're saying good stuff, you say it the wrong way, and it gives people that uncertainty, I guess you can say.
Yes, that's right. This is very common in a lot of people, and they were not aware of it. So that's why I always recommend my clients to record themselves, even though that they all hated to listening to their voices. But in order to know,
you should see me with this podcast. You should see me with the podcast. I hate reviewing my videos or my audios. In fact, I can't even do it at this point. I have to have my 17-year-old look at them and say, hey, Pancho, is this good? Yes, Dad, it's okay. Thank you.
Okay. So at least you have someone to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And only when you record yourself for my clients, then they realize, oh, this is how I came across to other people.
Right.
So like yesterday, I was receiving a phone call. It was a sales phone call. So the moment I received it, and it was a lady, and then she said, are you Cynthia? So I was thinking, what is this? So the voice is not inviting, is not
right. It doesn't give you the warm and fuzzies.
That's yes.
There you go.
So yeah, and that's why that we need to listen to ourselves and see that how we're sounding to other people, and then you will know that what is it that is stopping you from reaching the result that you want.
I totally agree. And I think one of the points we should point out is the awareness. I think a lot of people, me personally, I've made that a point in my career. I'm very aware of things now, but when I was younger, I wasn't always aware of things. And I came from a small town in Pennsylvania. We would speak in proper, like using double negatives and stuff like that. And to me, that was just normal English. I didn't realize, like, hey, we're not speaking proper. This is how everybody I knew and hung out with spoke. And it wasn't until one of my employers at the time was like, hey, David, you're speaking double negatives. I understand where you're from. I'm from that area too. This is how everybody speaks. It's normal English to you. But out here in San Diego, it makes you look not educated and it's actually holding you back. And until that point, I never actually realized that at all. And I think the awareness is something that is I think people are afraid to be aware because they don't want to have the critical feedback sometimes.
It's also a reflection that they are not accepting themselves in some way.
Right.
Yeah, if we accept ourselves, then we wouldn't care, or we wouldn't be affected that much when people are giving us the critical feedback.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one point that I try to do with my team. I try to tell them the little things, and it's like, hey, don't think I'm upset with you or I'm thinking negative of you, but I think you can improve with this. And I don't know if you're aware or not, but, for example, you're breathing in the microphone like that every time that you're talking, or something like that. And, I make them aware so that way, because I'm figuring, I look back at my experience, I had no idea that what I was doing was actually that bad in business. And until someone gave me the awareness, there's a couple times that there were some bad habits that I had, and they gave me some awareness on a couple things. And I look back that at the time it stank. It was like, oh man. But ultimately it helped turn me into who I am today. And if I don't help others become aware of some of these things, I mean, when they're looking for promotions or things like that to advance their career, it's going to hold them back. And I have the
Yes,
opportunity to help them open that.
that's right. Yes. So this is one of the reasons that many people, they came to me because they
Mm-hmm.
realized they have been rejected quite a few times for promotion. And then
Wow.
some of their bosses were telling them it is because of your voice. So that's where they realize, oh, I need to work on my voice.
What do you when they say their voice? Is it how they speak, their tone? Like, can you get into those details a little bit? Like, what do you usually coach people on?
Mm. So when we talk about the voice, it includes the tone. That's one
Hmm.
small part of it. And then it also includes the quality of the voice.
Right,
So for example, the voice could be soft, too high pitch, or too loud.
right.
So some people,
My
they
seven year
always,
old, my 7 year old daughter Liv has that voice that's too high. Oh my God, when she screams.
uh,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead,
So
Cynthia.
yeah, so some of my clients, when they came to me, especially for men, they will be saying that, oh, I want to have a voice quality that's like Morgan Freeman or Sean Connery. So, so to make it easier to understand, that's part of what I do is
Okay.
to help people develop a voice that shares the same quality or similar quality as Morgan Freeman or Sean Connery. So they don't have the chance to become like them, but they can
Right,
develop the quality, which is much fuller, deeper, more authoritative. At the same
right.
time, it's comfortable to listen to.
Oh yeah, Morgan Freeman probably has one of the most soothing voices that I've heard. And
Yes.
I swear I could probably go to sleep every night with Morgan Freeman whispering in my ear. That would be the best sleep ever. Okay, yeah, let's change the topic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the rhythm of how they speak, that's something as I've been doing the podcast myself, I've been made aware of how I speak, my tone, my interactions, stuff like that, saying all those things. And I've been proactively working on those to get better each and every single episode. It's a learning curve. I mean,
Yes.
is that how it is when you're doing the voice coaching as well too? It's not like someone's going to go to one or two classes with you and they're fixed, right? How long does it take?
Mm. And it will take about, in general, around 6 months. So I do have clients
Okay.
who take longer than 6 months
Mhm.
because everything they're learning, it needs to become a habit.
Habit, right?
Yeah. So in order to become a habit, then you would take, so we form at least about 3 to 4 habits, and each habit take about 2 months.
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. So I mean, I think that's a reasonable time frame because I mean you're essentially like retraining your brain, your habits, everything that you're used to doing. You're
Yes,
being more
your body.
conscious of it when you do it.
Yes, that's right. So we need to retrain, especially for voice, we need to retrain the body, how the
Right.
body has been used in projection. So that will take some time.
Right, right. Now, do you just do voice coaching or do you do body language as well too?
It's mainly the voice and the body language. I will point it out if it is terrible. Like, for example, if they're
Right.
always in this way,
Yeah.
collapsing, then I would point it out.
Okay, so with body language, you just point out the obvious things like I can fix your voice, but I can't fix you slumping. You've got to fix that.
Yes, yes. And the other thing is,
Mhm.
so voice, one is voice quality. The other one is what I call the voice color. Voice color is to have you, like what you were talking about just now, rhythm, and the rhythm of your
Right.
voice, variation of your voice. And for that part, some of my clients, they were being too intentional when they are working on their voice color. For example, they will be saying that, this is exciting. So, and then I said, it sounds weird. It doesn't sound natural. So we need to
Doesn't sound
learn how
natural,
to
yeah.
feel. Yes, how to feel excited. Then it will show up in your voice. And that affects the body language as well. Because if you're saying, I'm excited, then the hands, the gestures, they are also unnatural. So
Yeah.
once you feel excited, then the voice and the body language, they would be synchronized.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I've been told it's because I'm Italian, but I talk with my hands all the time. I've tried stopping that. I can't. But I would rather be talking with my hands than just having my hands in the pocket. So I guess I guess that's a fair trade-off.
Yes.
So let me ask you, I'll put you on the hot seat. And remember, this is my show, Shark Bite Biz. So be polite. How is my voice, my tone, my rhythm, all that stuff? Like, how would you compare that compared to normal people that you would end up coaching?
Mm. I think your pace is just right. It
Okay.
is a little bit surprising because a lot of my American clients, they speak
Hmm.
very fast. I think
Hmm.
probably also because of your awareness over the years.
Hmm.
So I remember the very first time when I was coaching an American client, and I said,
Yeah.
you speak very fast. And then he said, welcome to North America. Oh,
I don't know. You know what it is? It's also, I believe you're from Singapore originally, correct? Okay. Whenever I get somebody, I lived in Mexico for 15 years, and I've also lived in Peru for a year. And I've worked for Asian companies out of Korea and Japan, and I've had a lot of international English experience. So, when I'm talking with somebody like you, I think my pace naturally slows down because I've identified it because I've been in that situation so much
Mm,
more than other times. Do you think that's
mm.
true at all when people are speaking?
Yes, yes, because if you are exposed to people whose first language is not English, then
Hmm.
over time you'll have this awareness.
Is
Yeah,
that natural? Is that a natural awareness, or is that like a stereotype, or is like how would you explain that?
I would say that it depends
Hmm.
for what you're doing most of the times, because when you were in Mexico, all of them they probably don't speak very fluent English. So
Yeah,
then you are more aware.
Spanglish.
Um,
Yeah, mostly Spanglish.
yes,
Tijuana, I lived in Tijuana. It was on the border. So you
yes.
would have a lot of English speakers. Now, some of the English speakers would be so natural with English that I would speak with them just like I would, my mom at that space, that rhythm, and that's fine with them.
Mm,
Other ones, I guess you can call it the people that think they speak English,
hmm.
like you were saying, two and a half languages. And
Yes.
that's where I would be more into probably a rhythm and a speed and a tone even slower than this. And
Mm,
it's just something, I don't know. It's when I speak with somebody like that, I just naturally, change. I've always viewed that, I come from the sales world. I've always
mm,
viewed that that's one of my qualities as far as being a chameleon in that aspect, that I can
mm.
match the person that I'm speaking with.
Yes.
And because your rhythm was a little bit slower, it's just like my
Mm,
body more naturally adjusts to that.
yes. Yes. Yeah. So that is for you. The sales background helps because in
Mhm.
sales, the first step is matching, right? Matching and
Yep.
leading. Yeah. So
That's great. That's great. So everybody heard it on Shark Bite Biz. My voice is perfect. Deal with it. I'm kidding.
the
So
pace.
yeah, the pace. There you go. Now let's change gears a little bit to discuss some other topics. Um, I want to talk a little bit more about how powerful voices can really impact the business. We'll do that in a couple minutes. I want to shift gears to your business, your industry. How has that been impacted with the current coronavirus pandemic?
And so first of all is that I was not able to travel anymore. So
Right.
a lot of conferences they have turned online. I
Yeah.
was supposed to travel to the States twice. Those two conferences they have turned online, and instead of speaking to a live audience, I
Mhm.
was recording, pre-recording two videos and sent to the conference organizer.
Isn't that
And so,
harder? I mean, isn't that harder?
um,
Because when you're doing a live speech, a lot of
yes,
people play off of, the crowd, the vibes, the reaction
mhm,
from the crowd. So when you're doing a
yes,
pre-recorded speech, it's a little
mhm.
bit more flat than doing a live one. Is that true?
It's a different experience.
Right.
So with live audience, I can get the feedback, I can see their response, I can get energy. For the pre-recorded, it's more me talking to the camera. But I have been doing that for over 10 years. So I've been
Yeah.
recording videos for my YouTube channel for over 2 years.
Oh,
We
and
have a big
where's that YouTube channel?
following. So they can just go to YouTube and search Cynthia Voice Coach.
Okay. We'll get
So
all your info at
they're
the end, but we will make sure that I also have that link in our YouTube video of this episode as well, too.
mhm, okay. So that helped me with speaking just a camera. So it's just
Okay.
different experience for me.
So, with all of that being canceled, then, I mean, did you find that you were doing a lot of webinars? Are you doing less events, and webinars altogether? Is it about the same amount, just all digital? How did that pan out for you so far?
So in terms of speaking, it wasn't canceled. It was changed form to
Hmm.
online. So that's speaking. And then also at the same time, I do coaching. So coaching was increasing. I was
Okay.
quite surprised. Coaching was increasing. I think one reason that we mentioned was leaders, they started to realize how important it is for them to sound more certain, to convey
Right.
hope. At the same time, a lot of clients, they came to me because now they need to get on Zoom all the time for
Yep.
video conferences. And then they realized that they had a voice problem. But the problem was that their voice problem had already existed long before the Zoom conferences. It's just
Yeah.
that Zoom conference made them realize, oh, I have a voice problem.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's going back to the discussion that we had with awareness. I think a couple things there when you tell me this story. One is if you look at this show, we've had expert after expert after expert come on and say now is the time to rebrand, reevaluate, all that stuff for your
Mhm.
business, but that also applies for the individual as well too. Right now,
Yes.
you don't have commutes, most people don't. It's the
Mm.
time to reinvest that time in yourself, get that digital course online, get coaching, all that
Yes.
type of stuff. So that way you can improve yourself. And then also, I think a lot of leaders out there just became aware like, hey, if we're going digital only, I'm not equipped with all the skill sets to handle this. And they probably identified their voice coaching and stuff like that as one of the gaps that they had.
Hmm. Yes, that's right. And also, you see that this pandemic um, does require people to be more flexible, to be able to
Right.
see that instead of hang on to the past, to what you have been doing, people need to reinvent themselves and also see
Hmm.
that what's the possibility. So
Yeah.
there are still a lot of companies, they are thriving
Hmm.
during this pandemic. So it's because that they're flexible. They see the new needs.
Right. So would
Yeah.
you consider then that your business is thriving during the pandemic as well?
Yes, I would say that.
Oh, that's excellent. Glad to hear that. I love showcasing businesses that are actually achieving growth while the world is in chaos. So that's
Yes.
a great thing. What's that?
There was another thing. There were another two things I did. One
Yeah.
is that in the past, I run about one or two group classes
Mhm.
online. But this
Okay.
year, I have been running about 6 group classes
Wow. In what time period? A month? A week?
every 2 to 3 months.
Oh,
Sometimes
wow.
sometimes I have 2 group classes running at the same time.
Oh, wow. That's got to be fun. Are you on like
Yes.
two Zoom calls at once then?
No, it's two different time slots.
Okay. So what what pivots? So it sounds like you've already been digitally transformed because you've been equipped to do webinars and pre-recorded videos. You have your personal coaching that is being done online through Zoom or something like that, or your own platform. What other pivots have you had to do? Was there anything in marketing or how you had to reach your customers that changed now rather than how it was back in February?
I think it's really to look at what the market is looking for.
Right.
So in my expertise. So once I realized, oh, there are a lot of people looking for ways to improve their
Hmm.
voices, especially online. So that's where I
Right.
realized, oh, it's not just I cannot just do 1 or 2 classes anymore. There are more needs. So I
Right.
decided to open more classes, and
Okay.
then and then at the same time, because a lot of people were asking me, oh, how do I sound good on Zoom? So I did at least about 3 webinars, free webinars
Wow.
on how to sound good on Zoom. So
Wow.
it's
That's great.
listening to the market and see that what is the new needs of the market
Hmm.
in your expertise.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what you did because you saw the demand and figuring that hey, I'm not going to be traveling. It looks like for the rest of the year. So let's
Yes.
get you doubled essentially the amount of classes that you did. Instead of 2 to 3, you're up to 5 or 6, I think you said. So almost tripled the amount of
Yes.
classes you have. So it sounds like you responded very well to the market. So
Yes.
let's jump back in then to our last topic. We've discussed this a little bit during the call, but I guess can you give us more details, some real good advice as far as, how having the powerful, authoritative, rhythmic voice can really help leaders, managers, young execs, owners grow their business?
Mhm. So one of the things is to grow the business is by speaking. So a lot of my clients who are also entrepreneurs, and they realize they need to grow their business through speaking, but when they're speaking, they cannot hold people's attention. And after
Right.
they finish speaking, probably only one or two people coming up to them and talk to them. They want to get
Yeah.
better results. They want to have more people coming up to them once they finish
Yep.
speaking. So that's where that the voice is important, because you need to sound like the authority. You need to sound like that you know what you're talking about. People can trust you from the sound of your voice.
Mhm.
So that's one for entrepreneurs. And then for leaders, for corporate professionals, it's the same. That whenever you're speaking, not necessarily in presentation, but in day-to-day conversations, in meetings. So how
Right.
do you sound like that you are capable? You are also the expert in your company.
Right.
How do you speak so that people listen? And the other thing was for leaders, a lot of my clients, they said, oh, when I get emotional, I don't want to have my voice showing that I am emotional. Otherwise,
Right.
they will not trust or respect me. So that's the
Oh
other
yeah,
thing.
definitely. Definitely. I 100% agree. I know that I have a manager below me who is fabulous, but she is new to the management field, but she is probably the best in the game in the industry that we do. So I've been giving her a lot of personal coaching, and I'm like, "Hey, look, okay, you've got to take the emotional aspect out of this. You don't want them to hear that in your voice, because then they're going to think that this is just some kind of remote emotional reaction coming back from you. If
Mhm.
authoritative, you are, the same cool collective manner that you were before the escalation, you're going to earn more respect that way, and it'll probably help mediate the issue more in our favor than not.
Yes, yes. So those are the two of the three groups, the
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, the leaders. The third
Hmm.
group, they are salespeople. So salespeople, they want to sound more credible, more trustworthy, more
Right.
confident. So that's the other area.
Yeah, no, that's great advice, and I definitely agree with it with sales reps, because you want a sales rep that sounds like they know what they're doing, that they're not just out there trying
Mhm.
to make a quick sale, but someone that you can actually trust. If you're going to give them $100,000 check, you want to make sure that it's for what you think it is, and that they're not doing some kind of bait and switch for you. So, Cynthia, this was
Yes.
great. This was fun, really informative, refreshing. I loved it.
Uh-huh.
How can people reach out to you?
Sure. So I think one is we mentioned the YouTube channel. So they can go to
Yes.
YouTube again, search Cynthia Voice Coach. There are more than 150 videos. We have now
Wow.
41K subscribers.
Whoa, wow. You're beating my channel. Maybe I should go on your channel.
Okay, I'll help promote your channel on my channel.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Best interview
Yes.
ever. How else can they reach out to you? You have a website,
So,
email,
yes.
social media, whatever.
So
Yeah.
they can go to my website as well to download a
Very good.
step-by-step process to help them develop a powerful voice to be heard. So my website is powerfulexecutivevoice.com. And for social media, they can go to all kinds of social media, search my name, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, so they can find me.
Okay, perfect. Hey, thank you so much for coming on the show. I was so happy to have you here, and I'm looking forward to get you back some point next year too.
Sure.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Wow. Such an amazing conversation with Cynthia. She is somebody that knew right away what her passion and her love was in life. And it did take a little bit of experimentation, but she ultimately went that route. And man, was she successful. It's a great story. It's amazing what she is doing and how she is helping people break through their own barriers that are preventing them from being able to grow. First, before I move on to the rest of the summary, remember, if you found this interview helpful, please help the channel and this community grow. Smash that subscribe button, regardless of where you're viewing this, whether it's on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, or one of the other million platforms you can find Shark Bite Biz on. Smash that subscribe button, like the episode, but most importantly, please share this episode. Help others find Shark Bite Biz just like you did. Every episode's getting better, production's getting better, and we've worked out a lot of the kinks, but we can only grow if you all help us grow. So let's get back to Cynthia. She gave us some solid advice. When you speak to people, you want to make sure that you give them the warm and fuzzies. How can you do that? Well, simple. Your voice, your tone, your authority. Show your passion in your voice and be dynamic. Don't be monotone. You don't want people to fall asleep during your presentation. With Shark Bite Biz, to make this show interesting, especially because we talk about some boring topics sometimes, like payroll tax or sales tax or things that aren't really exciting, I try my best to be robust, dynamic, and, I use my voice to achieve that. I try to make many of these topics more engaging rather than just talking all boring. And it does. It allows me to make the show engaging and fun and more light. And that makes it so that it is more easily consumed. Allow your voice to be your number one tool in your tool belt. Another great tip that Cynthia said was, you want to hear how your voice actually sounds? And I know many of you probably didn't like this during the interview, but record yourself speaking during a presentation. Then listen back. And remember this too, okay? I've said this plenty of times throughout the show. Don't just take the bad from it. Take the good and bad, because you probably do have some foundation there that you're able to build off of. Realize that. Realize what you're doing good, then be like, okay, I gotta change this next time. And then work off that to get your voice where you need it to be. Sometimes, though, you do just need a little bit more help because you maybe don't know how to fix it yourself, and that's all right. That's fine. That's where a coach like Cynthia can really help you unlock the pathway to success. So if you are out there struggling, especially in the virtual and phone call world that we live in right now, give her a call. Reach out to her website. I think it was powerfulexecutivevoice.com. Make sure you check her out. Also, do you want to be a guest in the show? Got a good business story to tell about how your business pivoted during this pandemic, or what your clients are doing because you're a subject matter expert in some topic? Shoot me an email, david@sharkbitebiz.com. I've got a lot of requests out there to get on the show. We are booked up for the rest of the year, but I am going to be recording January and February episodes soon. So let's get you in the queue. Reach out once again, david@sharkbitebiz.com. As always, remember, I'm David Strausser. This is Shark Bite Biz, and we'll see you all next episode. And make sure you had an amazing Thanksgiving Day today. Cheers.
Thank you for listening to Shark Bite Biz. We hope you got some insightful info from this podcast. Be sure to subscribe to us through your favorite podcast app and visit us on the web at www.sharkbitebiz.com. How has business changed for you in the 20s? Email us at podcast@sharkbitebiz.com so you can join us and share your story.